Welcome to Disability 24/7 with Christine Brown.
And Kyle Pigman, and we are excited to have you. Thank you.
This is a podcast by people with disabilities, for people with disabilities, and about disability issues.
Today's episode is all about employment. October is Disability Employment Awareness Month, and today's episode is all about working with a disability.
Our guests today are Lisa Day, an advocate with Disability Rights Ohio, and Julie Hance, a manager on the Supported Employment and Transition Unit with Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, OOD.
Melissa and Julie, how are you both doing today?
Great, thank you. Thanks for inviting me on.
You're welcome.
I'm doing well. Thank you also for having me.
You're welcome.
Now we will give a disability tip. Don't have the employer say to you that because you're a disability, we don't hire you. That's discrimination.
Both will answer. Julie will be the first, and then Melissa. Why is hiring a person with a disability important for a business or organization? Julie goes first.
Well, thank you. I think that's a great question. And we get that a lot from the community and from employers about why hire people with disabilities, and sometimes questions about, are there specific types of jobs for people with disabilities? And we always talk with everybody about making sure that the conversation is around somebody's individual skills and abilities and assets that they're able to bring to any particular job, and making sure that it's a good match. And sometimes for employers, they like to think about the diversity of their workforce as well. So having all kinds of different people with different backgrounds and different focuses and different disabilities, and the more ways that we have to think about things and look at things together, and the bigger variety of voices there are at the table, benefits not only the company or the employer, but also all the customers that are with those employers.
Thank you, Julie. Now, Melissa.
Thank you. So I agree with Julie, and I believe that it's important to hire people with disabilities in all types of jobs, because individuals with disabilities have lots of different assets and skills, like Julie said, and it diversifies the employment pool of the office or the environment of the work that the company is doing, and they are able to contribute their voices as well as their life experiences to share with other people who may not consider themselves to have a disability, but in honesty, the other coworker may in fact have that type of disability and are aware of all the different services and availability that the individual who identifies with a disability has. So it provides the workforce with information and resources and a support system for all staff involved.
Thank you, Melissa. And also, we want to thank Michael Graham from OOD, listening in the background, like Lindsay is listening, doing the producing to us. And I had another question. Are there advantages and incentives of hiring a person with a disability?
Yes, I believe so. It is a way for the employer to have a diversified workforce, as well as individuals with disabilities can provide different attributes that other employees may not be able to contribute. I identify as a person with a disability, and I feel that people with disabilities are able to adapt quite frequently and be able to adapt to changes that might happen in the workforce, and the employer can rely on that individual when sometimes they think that that might be a disadvantage when it's actually not. And so that's what I believe and think.
Thank you, Melissa. Now Julie's turn.
Yes, I agree, Melissa. There's a lot of natural benefits to hiring people with disabilities and just a variety of people across the board in general. In addition to that, there are some monetary incentives, sometimes some credits that employers can take advantage of for hiring somebody with a disability. That often is not the primary focus of the conversation, but we do have a lot of employer resources on our website. There's an employer toolkit and lots of things that employers can take a look at ood.ohio.gov. In addition to just any listener that's on the podcast today that may want to find out information from an employer perspective about hiring somebody with a disability and those advantages that are available for them. So I would invite anybody to check that out.
I'd
Thank you.
also like to ask Michael, what is it you think is important for the community to know about the benefits of hiring people with disabilities?
Yeah, I heard that. Absolutely. Thanks, Christine. I think Julie and Melissa really summed it up very well in the fact that, individuals with disabilities are individuals who often want to work. And we see with individuals with disabilities that their retention rates in jobs are typically much higher than what I think the public would actually believe it to be. So I think that the benefits of hiring individuals with disabilities is you have a group of individuals who want to work and who want to pay taxes. And I think there are a lot of benefits to employers to bringing individuals into the workforce who want to work, who stick around to work. And there are a lot of benefits, as Julie mentioned, in terms of like tax incentives and programs such as OOD through our vocational rehabilitation that can help individuals with disabilities break down that barrier and get into employment. So I encourage any individual with a disability listening to this podcast who would like to work to visit oodworks.com and get started. And we'd be happy to, look at what barriers might exist for you and see if a vocational rehabilitation program is right for you.
Thank you, Michael.
So the other thing to share that happened recently on October, it's going to be effective October 23rd, 2023, is Medicaid Buy-in Awareness Day. I got that as a surprise. And the Medicaid Buy-in is a program for people with disabilities to work and not have fear of losing your Medicaid when working. That's such a big thing. So whenever you go for a job and you start getting services, see about getting a benefits analysis, because that is the way so you can learn what kind of benefits you can receive when going for a job, because it's important to do so.
Thank you, Christine. I have another one. The people with disabilities encounter discrimination due to their disability, like employer not making reasonable accommodations, being mocked or teased at, and more. And I've encountered that at my other previous work, being teased and mocked, and I was not happy with that. And then I'm going to direct this first question to Julie or Michael. What is the mission of OOD?
Well, thank you for that question. And I wanted to circle back around. I think this connects to your question and what we just heard about the Medicaid buy-in, because those work incentives are very important to a lot of the people that we're serving. And because of that, we hired people that specifically help those individuals and their families be able to understand how working can be an asset to them financially and help them get even more money to be able to do more things that they want. So we have work incentive consultants on staff that can help somebody if they or their family is nervous about that and they want to talk about that. We have people that can help talk through those things with them. And that ties to our mission of helping to spread the word that employment should be the first and preferred option for all people with disabilities, meaning that everybody should have the right to talk about working, should have the opportunity to try some things out related to work and to think about what some different jobs could be in the community for them, and have that planning together with those who are important to them in their meeting. So if they want to bring somebody with them to that meeting, they can bring anybody they want to help with some of that supported decision making as it relates to thinking about the type of job they want and where they want the job. But we really do want to focus on that person-centered piece of it and be individualized, because everybody's different and everybody has different skills and abilities and concerns that are specific to them that we like to talk through together.
Thank you, Julie. And do you have anything, Michael, before I have a question for Melissa?
No, I don't believe so. I think Julie summed it up perfectly.
Thank you, Michael. And Melissa, this question goes to you. How is DRO important in helping the person with a disability keep their jobs and keep on working, and what DRO's mission is?
Thank you, Kyle.
Welcome.
So as you see in Julie's background, the theme of the National Disability Empowerment Month is advancing and access equity. And our vision here at DRO, Disability Rights Ohio, is voices elevated, people empowered, and equity achieved. In my role as a client assistance program advocate, as well as an advocate for people who are receiving benefits of Social Security, we assist individuals with disabilities regarding employment through our CAP program by helping individuals who are receiving or want to receive services from Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities by advocating. Sometimes there might be a conflict with the individual and their counselor, and we can assist in rectifying that. And sometimes OOD denies services, and we can help with the appeal process, explaining that process, and maybe even further, it's on an individual case-by-case basis. And then with the other side of our employment team, when it comes to people who are receiving benefits, we can provide individuals information and resources regarding the rights under Title I of the ADA, and providing them with information and resources and answering their questions. If they're receiving Social Security disability benefits, we may be able to do a little bit more. And then we also have the work incentives planning program, also that consists of benefits counselors as well, just like OOD does. And we can provide them with information on their work incentives and questions about Medicaid buy-in, and help them with Social Security's work incentive called the Ticket to Work program, which allows individuals to either go to OOD or what's called an employment network to receive vocational rehabilitation services. So we have a great resource on our website under our resources tab, and hopefully maybe there can be put a link in or something to our resource about employment as well as benefits counseling.
Thank you, Melissa. We will put out the OOD and Disability Rights Ohio website. It's disabilityrightsohio.org, O-R-G, and then I want to thank you, Melissa, for that, for answering the question, and for Julie for answering the question. Do you have any other questions, Christine, or any comment?
Well, I know that there's a project going on related to accessibility under OOD, working with businesses, making sure the community sites are accessible, because sometimes that's a barrier when someone wants to work at a certain location, but that site where they're in is not ADA. Do you have anything you could share that you guys are doing in that project, Michael?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Christine. And I'll kind of give a rundown, and I'll throw it over to Julie to add any information I might miss. But as you might be aware, in Governor DeWine's operating budget for OOD, for these past for these future 2 fiscal years that we're currently in, it really reinforces his commitment to making Ohio a disability inclusion state and model employer of individuals with disabilities. And part of this historic investment in OOD was a new initiative and program called Accessible Ohio. So what this program does is it supports Ohio's businesses, communities, venues, and attractions in becoming accessible and inclusive for individuals with disabilities. As we know, Ohio is at its best when everyone, including Ohioans with disabilities, are empowered to experience all of that our great state has to offer. So we're excited to announce that Accessible Ohio is officially up and running. We've hired, I believe it's 4 Accessible Ohio specialists that are regional throughout the state, who can assist either businesses, public venues, or attractions with free consultation services and making their venues or their businesses more accessible to people with disabilities. So the director, as Director Miller likes to always point out, accessibility is something that's should be at the forefront of our psyche when we're going about our business. As you may be aware, when you have your smartphone and you zoom in to look at text on your smartphone, everybody currently uses that, but that was really an accessibility feature. Same thing with automatic doors at the grocery store. When you walk in, they open automatically, and that was originally an accessibility feature for veterans returning from war. So as we kind of look to see Accessible Ohio really take ground in the state, we're looking at ways we can partner in order to make those ground level, sea-level changes to accessibility.
I only know the one that it's not included in, and that is housing. And that's a big, huge issue. Is a second way of accessibility. We might talk on another day on that, but I just wanted to point it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think housing is one of those, as Accessible Ohio gets up and running, right now we're really looking to partner with businesses and venues and other local governments, but I think housing is obviously a need in terms of accessibility, and that's something that we're aware of, and we're happy to work with partners moving forward about that issue.
Thank you, Michael, and
Thanks.
this, because the director is, Director Miller is Director Kevin Miller for the Ohio, Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. And Michael did a great job explaining the Accessible Ohio, and we are all very excited about it. Director Miller has made a lot of effort and headway in helping people to know about our agency in general, from participants who are seeking us for services, their families, community partners, employers, to know that Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities is here, and that we have services and resources and supports for businesses, for people, for everybody, that is related to the disability community. And with Accessible Ohio, what's really cool is this is one of the first times we've done something that we're helping people, these employers and businesses, even when it's not directly connected to somebody's placement on a job. It could be a zoo or an airport or a retail store or a mall or any of these types of places that want to get better at meeting the needs of all of their customers. And they want to hear from OOD and from the people that we serve about what the needs are, and what is it that could be helpful and make things more accessible. So I've heard a lot of you kind of mention and get to this advocacy piece, and like Disability Rights Ohio is a place that can help somebody when they need help being an advocate or when they want to speak up for themselves. And OOD is also an advocate in that way, where we're trying to hear what everybody's telling us about what the needs are, and then help communicate those to other businesses and entities so that they know what the need is and what can make things better for everybody. Disability
you.
and aging, right?
Yeah.
Our aging population, everybody benefits when people with disabilities benefit. Yeah.
Thank you, Julie. And then I'll give you a brief description of Disability Rights Ohio. It started as Ohio Legal Rights Service when it was a state agency until 2012. It became a non-profit. The government case it did made it into a nonprofit. We're still getting federal dollars, and I want to make and then Melissa can tell why she enjoys working for this DRO.
Thank you, Kyle. Yes,
Welcome.
I've been working with DRO for 10 years now. And in addition to our employment team, we have several other staff members that can assist with community integration, questions about assistive technology, as well as questions on housing accessibility, as well as anything related to your disability or someone's disability, and you have questions about their rights, especially even with education, please contact our office and we will be more than happy to provide you with as much information and resources, and if possible, maybe legal advocacy, which is based, assessed on a case-by-case situation. So
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that. And I know we have about a few more minutes of our time. And do we have any closing thoughts from Michael, Julie, and Melissa?
I hope that people listening to this podcast today, which I love, by the way. I listened to some of the previous podcasts, and I think it fills a void and is a needed piece for the disability community. And I hope that when people listen to this, they're thinking about not just themselves, but maybe some friends or relatives or other people who might be able to benefit from some of the services that we all have to offer, and they can help spread the word to let people know that we're here, we can help, we're a free resource. We would love to have you. Please come and check out the different types of services that are available for people of all kinds of different disabilities, whether it's physical or behavioral health or hearing or vision or sensory, any type of disability that somebody may have that could benefit from these services, and helping us to spread that word, because it's amazing how many people still don't know some of the resources that are out there, despite all of the social media and things that we have online. It still is a lot of word of mouth, I think, and kind of nudging somebody and letting them know we're here. So we appreciate any help with that, including just this podcast to help us get that word out there. So thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Anything from you, Michael?
Absolutely. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, I just want to echo what Julie said. I think this is a great resource for the disability community. And I want to thank you, Kyle and Christine, for inviting us on to talk more about OOD's resources and the programs that we have related to employment, since it is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So I just want to echo what Julie had to say. If you are listening to this podcast and you want to find work, or you know somebody with a disability who wants to find work, reach out to us. You can contact us by getting started at oodworks.com. Additionally, you can call us at 800-282-4536. So thanks, Kyle, and thanks, Christine.
Thank you. And now Melissa from DRO.
Thanks, Kyle.
Welcome.
I want individuals who are listening to this podcast know that if you have a disability, or if you have a family member, friend who has a disability, and they don't think that they can work because they will lose their benefits, there are these work incentives in place, whether you're receiving SSI or SSDI or just Medicaid. There are work incentives that can help you get to work and work full time. I was on SSI when I was younger, and I was concerned about losing my benefits and making as much money. So with Medicaid buy-in, I am able to work full time. I am no longer receiving benefits because I do not need them, because I'm be able to work full time. And I still receive Medicaid through Medicaid buy-in, which now, with the help of Christine and wonderful advocates, now individuals who are 65 and over can still stay on Medicaid buy-in and receive their benefits as well. And if you have questions on how this is possible, please reach out to OOD and Disability Rights Ohio, and we are happy to answer these questions for you.
Thank you, Melissa. Now we can get Christine with the closing.
So thanks, Kyle. So thank you all so much for joining us for episode 3 on Disability 24/7. We look forward to hearing from you. Please find us on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and on Instagram at Disability 247, and please subscribe. We are planning to do this frequently because everyone deserves to have their voice heard, to hear and learn about these issues, and us to share what people are dealing with, and it lets even the other government officials learn as well. So thank you for your time today, and we hope you all have a good weekend.
And I want to say thank you to Julie and Michael from OOD and Melissa from Disability Rights Ohio for being our guest today. And I thank you so much. And you have a excellent, fabulous day.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
It's the same.
You too.